Hello, this is the first video of my summer project, which I'm going to call my summer of reading a lot project. I need to find a better name for that. But the idea is I was an avid reader. I like reading still. I am studying literature. I did a bachelor degree in English and Italian literature. Now I'm doing a master's degree in American literature. I'm in the summer between my 2 years of the masters, so what I want to do is rediscover my passion for reading, not for literature, but for reading. And also, I need to find a subject for my dissertation. So I hope that through these summer's readings, by the end of the summer, and I should mention that when I'm saying summer, I do include the month of September because university for us starts on in October. So technically speaking, September is still part of the summer holiday. So I'll be including September. So there are 3 months roughly of me trying to read as much as I can and also find a subject for my dissertation. So this is my summer TBR. It's not the full list because I do have some books in Romanian as well, but I want to talk about the books I have in English. Some of them are American literature and some of them are books that I want to read just because I want to. So we'll go through that list. I'll talk a little bit about each book. I do know some things about some of the books, about some other books I have no idea. I have a rough idea about some of the other books, but without further ado, but without further but without further ado, let's start. The first book on my list is one that I have already started reading, and that is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. As you can see, I've already made some annotations to this book. I This is a reread technically because I did read it like 7 years ago, but to be honest, I don't remember much from it. I didn't quite understand it. At the time I read it, it was shortly after reading 1984, and I was fascinated and obsessed with this idea of totalitarian regimes full of torture and all of that. That was my favorite part of 1984, and I hoped this, which is the other big dystopia beside 1984, I hoped this work was going to offer me the same satisfaction. It didn't at that time. Now I'm not that keen on reading about torture to control people, and I find this the idea of the book, obviously it's fascinating. Huxley is considered somewhat of a genius for being able to predict so accurately the way our society is functioning today. And I'm also becoming more and more aware of how we as people are seen as consumers. Our value is is our value is placed on how much we consume, how many things we have, and it is inescapable, I think. I would like to think that I'm a bit more aware of what is happening, and I'm not such a mindless consumer as big corporations would like you to be. So a great read. I really enjoyed it. I've read about 65 pages from it, and I would also like to do a book review or kind of a reading vlog. I have no idea, but yes, the first book I'm reading is Brave New World. Okay, next. Oh, I should have said this is the. I'll start with the pile of books that is not related to my masters, because these are mainly English literature, and I have 3 books of American literature that will be related to my master's degree. So Brave New World, not related. Could be. I'm thinking about it, maybe, but not related because it's English literature. Okay, next book I wanted to read because of the film, but not only, and that is Poor Things by Alasdair Gray. Sorry. So yes, obviously, probably you know that the movie came out. I don't know, a few months ago, I think. I honestly don't remember. I knew about Poor Things before the movie. I remember I started reading it a while back, but I didn't get through too much of it. Maybe I read the first 10 or 20 pages, and I think there was another book that interested me more at that time, so I didn't didn't go through with it. But now with the movie, having seen the movie, having liked kind of the movie, having heard about the fact that the movie and the book had some quite essential differences, I decided that I want to give the book another try, and this is my so that is why it is on my to read list for this summer, even if again it's not related to my masters. Okay, next book I have is Orlando by Virginia Woolf. I've mentioned that I did my bachelor degree in English literature, and Virginia Woolf was the author that I did my bachelor thesis on. I talked about two of her novels, Mrs. Dalloway and Jacob's Room. I talked about the loneliness of the characters, what caused it, and something like that. Don't remember it very well, but but Virginia Woolf, it is an author that I really like. I know some people find her writing style difficult to follow, and I don't disagree with that. I think it is difficult to follow, but what I think it's very important when you start reading Virginia Woolf is that you go in with the correct expectations. So if you expect a kind of like a, I don't want to say normal, but a conventional novel with a beginning and end and and a story that is kind of linear, you won't get that with her. And it does feel at at the beginning of her novel, it feels like you are plunged in, and this is a reference to the Mrs. Dalloway, but yes, feel like you are plunged into this world and you don't understand anything about it. There are a lot of characters, a lot of feelings. The writing style is quite poetic, so it can be difficult to follow. But if you are willing to stick to it, I think she manages to bring all of these pieces of a puzzle together at the end, and you're not left with the feeling that you don't understand what's happening. At least was my experience. Even with Mrs. Dalloway, when I think within the first few pages you're in the present and you're in the past, and it's confusing at the beginning. Once you start going with that style and you kind of go with the flow of the narration, I think it starts the pieces start to fall into place. And I find her style very beautiful, very interesting, inspiring even. And she is one of those authors that kind of touched something in me. That's why I like her so much, and that's why I chose to write my thesis on her novel. The thing is, as much as I do like Virginia Woolf, I haven't read any of her other novels. So I got Orlando on my list because I want to read some more Virginia Woolf. Okay, on to the next one, which is quite a thick book, and I hope I will get to it this summer. There isn't a high chance, but I put it on my list, and I hope I will get to it. And that is the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. I read half of Midnight Children, but again, I didn't go into that book with the right expectations. I don't think so. And at that time, I also had other novels that interested me more, so I didn't I DNF'd it at that time. But recently, I fell into a rabbit hole uh, about Salman Rushdie. If you're familiar with him, you know that in 2022 he was attacked on stage with a knife. He was stabbed multiple times. He was injured. He almost died. And he was attacked because of this novel. This novel is very controversial. The whole Islamic world hates him for this very novel because he critiques religion. As far as I know, I haven't read it. I think this novel really stands for, I don't know, I think I say if as if that's my opinion, but no, this novel, the existence of this novel stands for the freedom of speech, how important that is, how important it is for people to be allowed to critique systems, no matter many how great they are, or no matter how perfect they seem. Each system is imperfect, and people should be able to critique it, and that's what drew me to this book. So this was my hobby list, my list of 4 novels of English literature. Although Alistair Gray is Scottish and Salman Rushdie obviously has Indian origins, but they are all English, Britannic, I think. Onto the list that is for my thesis and for my dissertation, and I have here 3 novels written by American writers that hopefully will help me decide on the subject of my thesis. So by the end of the summer, I can start writing it, because ideally I would like to start writing it now, but since I don't know what I want to do it about, I think having this deadline of at the end of the summer, at the end of September, once my second year of my master's degree starts, I think if I have my idea by then, and I start it once the second year starts, then I should be good to go. Okay, I think I'm being boring. So my 3 novels, for hope that will hopefully help me decide what I want to write my thesis on. And I have another disclaimer to make. These are not this list might get extended, so I might take out books from the other list and extend this list. I have ordered Meridian by Alice Walker, because recently I did an essay, a paper on her novel The Color Purple, and I really liked it. So I ordered another novel from her to read. So that will definitely get added to the list, and there might be other books added to this list. So this is not a comprehensive list, but these are just 3 books that I want to read and I hope will help me pick kind of my subject. Okay, I'll quit being boring. So first novel, I'll take them in the order I have them here, is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I don't know, how should I put this? East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I haven't read any novels written by him. I have read, well, no, that's not a novel, that's a novella. I have read Of Mice and Men, also about 7 years ago, when I was in my at the peak of my reading. I have read that and I really enjoyed it, and his style kind of reminds me of Dostoevsky, and I really Dostoevsky is one of my favorite authors, and I would write a thesis about him if I were studying Russian, but I'm not, so I won't do that. But yes, his style kind of reminded me of Dostoevsky, and I, based on Of Mice and Men and based on things I've heard about his other novels, it sounds like something that I would really enjoy. So I want to read this novel, and I'm thinking to base my thesis around his writings and his literature. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking about that. Next novel is a classic, although technically I think all of the novels here are classics, but I don't like the term classic. So, but it's an older book, and that is Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I started reading this last summer, and I got through about 80 pages of it, but then I left it. Why did I leave it? I don't remember exactly. Maybe it got a bit boring. It's quite daunting when you have such a thick book to read. Although I'm not I did read a lot of Dostoevsky, and he's known for having not having the thinnest books, if you know what I mean. So I don't know why I was so scared of his novel, but yes, I want to. I'll say I'll restart it from the beginning, even no, I don't like the idea of rereading the first 80 pages. But Herman Melville is another author that I'm considering. Of course, I don't have to base my thesis on one author, but in my head, it makes more sense if I start from one author and then go from there, because I don't know, it feels more manageable. And the last novel that I want to read in hopes that it will help me decide what my thesis will be on is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I've read some of her poetry, not a lot. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a big fan, but what I read I did like. We've discussed some of her poetry in one some of my classes during my bachelor degree, so I also enjoyed that. And obviously, I'm interested in themes of feminism and all stuff like that. And I've also heard from a friend of mine that this novel is really beautiful. I know that it is an autobiographical novel, so that's pretty much everything I know about it. Other than that, uh, not not very much. I'm going in with almost no expectations, but hoping it will clear out the way and the subject of my dissertation will just show up from above, and I will be illuminated and I'll know what I want to write about. So this is my list. I have seven total novels. I've started with Brave New World and I'm planning to and finish it soon. It's not difficult to get through, as opposed to other novels that I think will be a little bit more challenging. Although the reason I'm not finishing a book is never because I find it challenging, it's just because I don't know, YouTube. I prefer watching. I don't prefer watching YouTube videos, but it's easier to watch YouTube videos. Although maybe I should get into the reason why I don't read as much in another video. So this is my list. Thank you for listening to me. I think I was very boring because I did a lot of rambling. I don't think I'm that interesting, and I don't have a lot of energy to make people pay attention to me. I don't think so. But at the end of the day, I'm in my living room. Nobody has to see it unless I want them to see this, unless I want them to see this, and it's kind of fun to speak to yourself. So although I'm speaking as if I am addressing a potential audience, but I've watched a lot on YouTube. Alright, so this was my TBR list. I want to get through all of it, and in order to keep myself accountable, I want to make reading vlogs. So, in theory, I should have started filming reading vlogs for Brave New World. I haven't, but I will. I want to. Although I don't know if I can make them that interesting, because I usually read in my bed and my bed does not look aesthetically pleasing. So maybe I'll just do check-ins and let you know about my thoughts on Brave New World. Thank you for thank you for watching my ramblings. My name was Delia. I want to talk about the books, and I want to find a dissertation topic by the end of this summer holiday.